Good evening. Welcome to the Facebook Live incident briefing for the Creek Fire. I am Kim Osborne, the Public Information Officer for the Great Basin Team 1. This briefing tonight is specifically for the Mammoth Lakes and surrounding areas, as we are going to be speaking specifically about the northeast section of the fire for fire operations. Tonight we're going to have two speakers. First is Jim Wallman, National Weather Service from Reno, and Evans Quo, our Deputy Incident Commander from Great Basin Team 1. We wanted to let you know they're going to be showing their products on the screen, and so you will not see them, you will just be hearing their voices, so I wanted to introduce them in the very beginning. So please keep your questions tonight. We'll have a question and answer at the end, specifically to fire operations. As Tuesday at 7 p.m., the town of Mammoth will have a community meeting where other areas that you may have questions about can be discussed. So we'll go, first of all, the fire is currently 271,938 acres, 24% contained. There is 2,915 personnel on the fire. So I'm going to turn the time over to Jim Wallman, our National Weather Service from Reno.
Good evening. I'm Jim Wallman from the National Weather Service in Reno. And I'm just here to give you a quick overview of the weather the next several days so you can have an idea of what I'm looking at and what the team is being briefed on for the weather. For the next, at least for tomorrow and the next couple of days, what I have up here is a wind image at about 10,000 feet. The arrows that you see are, showing the wind direction, and the length of them is an approximation for the strength of the speed. What I've also done here is color-coded it so the black is up to 10 miles an hour, and then the purple shading here is from 10 to 20. So at least this is tomorrow afternoon, very light winds coming up over the Sierra Crest into Mammoth Lakes. What often happens, and it'll be similar to what you saw today, is out on the east side towards the airport, you will see more southeast winds continue all day. Then late in the afternoon, you'll probably also see some southwest winds coming up over the top of Mammoth Mountain, but fairly light, around 10 miles an hour, similar to what is currently happening this afternoon. As I go forward, this is an example for Monday afternoon. We have a little system going by to the north, which will strengthen the winds from the southwest. But these, again, are nothing out of the unusual. This is actually something that would typically happen on a summer day. But with it being September, the winds are probably not going to be as strong as we would normally see, what we call the Washoe Zephyr winds, which I know some of you are familiar with. These winds will pick up on Mammoth Mountain. We'll get some winds around 20 miles an hour there. And into town, it'll be considerably lighter, probably about 5 to 10 miles an hour from the west to southwest. As you head out farther toward the airport, they will get more of a battling wind from that southeast, maybe becoming west to northwest late in the day, but it's still fairly light, up to 10 miles an hour. As I go into Tuesday afternoon, the winds again are going to lighten a little bit and become kind of like what I'm expecting for tomorrow, with just light west winds late in the day on top of Mammoth Mountain, but otherwise remaining more southeast across the town. Even on Wednesday, we have the ridge building in, and so we're expecting really, really light winds. So even on Mammoth Mountain, they'll probably be light and variable, but you'll be getting the southeast winds that come up the Owens Valley through Crowley Lake and toward the airport there. So, and again, up to like 10 miles an hour there. So it's fairly light winds overall the next several days, except for a little bit stronger Monday afternoon, but probably even weaker than a typical summer afternoon. The only thing that I see for a potential stronger type wind event is this image here. This is one image for Friday, and this is the strongest model run that I've seen. So there's about 100 different model runs I can look at, and this is the strongest one. So this really has only a 1% chance of occurring. These winds here that you see in this darker purple shading are about 20 miles an hour, 20 to 30. The stronger winds look to stay up to the north. And so what we could expect with those is in the afternoon, a typical type of afternoon wind where the Mammoth Mountain will gust 30 to 40 miles an hour. In town, you can see wind gust of 20 to 25, and maybe a little bit stronger out as you get towards the airport. But again, this is a very low probability of occurring. I would say 1% chance of occurring at this time, but it's something that we keep an eye on and brief the team, so we have an awareness of what the possibilities are for any type of weather event that could be of concern. As I go farther out, I will go into next weekend, and it looks like there's another ridge building again. Again, this is just one example of a model showing this, but there is a lot higher probability of actually the ridge holding and keeping the winds light into next weekend. So aside from that 1% chance of probability of that stronger wind event on Friday, I really don't see much of a wind event of any kind, of any significance occurring. With that said, temperatures are going to warm up. They will become a little bit above normal, and the relative humidity that will affect the fuels is going to drop. Is already around 10 to 15% in the valley, but as far as on the west side, you can know it can be significantly different. Over the fire area, we are seeing lighter winds, generally upslope, up canyon, up to 20 miles an hour, and the humidity is generally about 10% higher on the west side in these conditions than on the east side. So we're seeing humidity getting down to the upper teens to around 20% instead of the near 10% that we're seeing in the Mammoth Lakes area. And I expect that to continue even through the warmer temperatures. So with this, I will be turning it over to Evans Quo, the Deputy Incident Commander.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Evans Quo. I'm the Deputy Incident Commander of Great Basin Team 1. Our team has been on this incident, the Creek Fire, now for coming up on almost 2 weeks. And Great Basin Team 1 is managing the fire on the north side, where CAL FIRE Team 1, our partners, are managing the fire on the south side. The image that we are showing on the screen right now depicts the Creek Fire, as is with an infrared imagery. That's mostly with the red and orange symbols that you're seeing. And then more importantly, today's update is the purple outline that we were able to accomplish using another aircraft to map the perimeter of the fire. And it shows, for the most part, where the fire is, and is able to help us with our assessments regarding direction of spread and potential risk towards Mammoth Lakes. Another symbol that you see on the map is this other polygon, which represents the Lion's Head fire from 2018. That particular fire scar is significant because it shows that an area that has been burned, and we believe it will probably resist active fire spread and can function as a barrier to the main fire as the fire spreads. So currently, as it stands right now, if you can follow the purple boundary, that is where the fire currently is right now, up around Green Mountain, up in this area to the north. That's probably the furthest extent, and then over by Madera Rock, a little farther to the southwest. And then on the southeast side of the fire, the northeast side of the fire, this is the South Fork of the San Joaquin drainage, where the fire is currently. It burned up until it ran into the drainage bottom, where you see a lot of that rock features on the opposite side, and so far it has not shown very much signs of pushing to the northeast. A lot of these things are fairly significant from the standpoint of we were watching this fire, especially during the wind event we had the last 2 days, and as a result of some additional moisture that we received on the fire, anywhere from a few hundredths of an inch to a quarter of an inch of rain in various places. For the most part, the fire slowed down and stopped when it hit the South Fork of the San Joaquin drainage on the northeast side. And then up on the north side, it burned fairly actively 2 days ago, but then when the rains came, it slowed down. We do expect to see additional fire growth to the north of the purple line, but as you can see from the Google Earth aerial imagery, at some point, once it continues to burn through the unburned areas, it will end up into the large granite outcrops up on the top of the Sierra Crest. A lot of that same granite is what you see over from the 2018 burn scar, and the fire just did not seem to want to push up and over, or it was able to be used as a good natural barrier. So we're looking at a lot of these terrain features, looking at past fire history to try to help us predict and get a feel for what this fire is going to be doing right now. So another example is Madera Peak. The fire burned actively from the south coming out of Chiquita Creek, but once it started hitting the rock, it started to split, and we fully expect the fire to continue working laterally to the west, burning some of the unburned fuels, but it should not progress to the north very much more. We do have some containment options and opportunities that we've been looking at extending up from the south side of the fire, all the way up from the San Joaquin River right down here at the bottom, going up the west flank around the communities of South Fork, North Fork, and then also try to keep the fire from coming down into Bass Lake. And then once we get up into the Bayshore corridor, we intend to herd the fire to the northeast and keep it away from Yosemite Park and the community of Wawona. On the south end of the fire, the CAL FIRE team that is working that piece is they've been fairly successful on installing some constructing dozer lines in the front country outside the toll house in Aubrey, and they've been working on containing the fire along the south flank using a combination of dozer lines and firing operations. They've also been very active trying to secure the fire's edge around the communities of Shaver Lake and Big Creek, and then up around Huntington Lake to try to protect as much as they possibly can. Looking further out, the way this fire has been shaping up, some of these white lines that you see, these are our trigger points. So last week, when the fire was burning fairly actively to the northeast, our first trigger point, just north of Mount Tom, was the fire made it to that point. What that prompted us to do was start coordinating with Inyo National Forest and the Mono County to start looking at potential needs for contingency planning to protect the community of Mammoth Lakes, the Devils Post Pile National Monument, and the Red Meadows Pack Station area, as well as the Mammoth Mountain Ski Resort. A lot of those plans that were put into place in coordination with all those partners on that side of the mountain, and as over the course of during the wind event, we looked at contingency planning of what we needed to do in order to bolster the defenses of the town, as well as some of the values out in that direction, and that's what some of these other white lines indicate. So the next trigger point we have is Pincushion Mountain. So if the fire were to cross the South Fork of the San Joaquin River and make it to spread to the northeast and make it up to the top of Pincushion Mountain, you can see there's some unburned fuel. So there is a slight, there's a potential for the fire to go there. I won't tell you it won't go there. Then at that point, we have some contingency plans that we would put in place to increase the level of staffing that we have over on the Mammoth Lake side to protect a lot of those values. And then if the fire were to continue burning to the north, maybe pushed by the winds for say, this next drainage, this white line here represents the Fish Creek drainage. And if the fire were to make it to there, then we would ramp up the next level of contingency planning that we have in place with Mono County, as well as Mammoth Lakes community. Over on the other side of the San Joaquin River, on the north side of the fire, we have high expectations that the granite rock outcrops will serve as a good barrier to keep further fire spread. That being said, we are continuing to look at contingency plannings in the event that the fire managed to find a way to sneak through there and look for opportunities to also take action. With that, I think we'll turn it back over to Kim.
Thank you, Evans. We're checking right now to see if we had any questions. Well, I think both of you did an excellent job of being thorough, that we aren't having any questions that we need to go over. So with that, for up-to-date current information about the Creek Fire, please follow the Sierra National Forest Facebook page, INCIWeb, or the Mono County Creek Incident page. These links should appear here in the moment in the chat box you're currently watching. Our next Creek Fire incident briefing for the